Well, greetings gamers. This is Dr. Eileen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to laugh, to chat, to chill, to hang out, to take a moment, to take a break, to take a breath, and say it is Monday, not Friday. I forgot to update the stream information, but I did it just now. It is Monday, and not just any Monday, it is Make It Happen Monday. Oh, the power we have to make things happen in our lives. And we have our gold medalist coming right out of the gate, crossing the line first, our very own university student, Sumasuki. Hello, my dear. How are you? What is up? What is happening? How are the halls of higher learning? It is just exciting. Yes. What is happening? And we have our just, everything that we would really like to get done. Think about the things you'd like to get done. Think about the things that you want to make happen before the end of the year, because my dear friends, we are heading into that power slide into New Year's Eve. So we need to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to be able to make things manifest for ourselves. And it is, hold on, let me fix something because part of the description is very bothersome to me. Hold on. There we go. Now it is correct. All of it's correct. Hold on. There we go. All right. Stream info is now fully updated, and I feel better. So how was everyone's weekend? It was, sometimes it feels like it's too short. Sometimes it feels like we need a vacation from our vacation and a weekend from our weekend. So hopefully it was a decent weekend. And for those of you who are in places that are experiencing some very, very, very powerful weather, please be safe. Because there is some weather and stuff that's happening that is very, very, very intense. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself, that you're being safe. Get together the things you need to get together. Then if you can, stay put. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. And sometimes, it's, the most sensible thing to do is just let nature do what nature's going to do, because nature's going to do it anyway. So, and however, we are at the start of a new week. We are just over halfway through the month. And as I said, we're heading into that power slide into the holidays, getting all the things that you need to get into place, getting all the things done that you want to get done. Because once October hits and we make it through Halloween, it seems like bam, we're in Thanksgiving. Bam, we're in Christmas. Bam, it's 2024. Yes! Why is that doing it twice? Oh, okay, because I had that open twice. I fixed it. Allergy season sucks. Oh, you have allergy season you are dealing with. Oh, my poor baby. It's hard to think that I turned 19 in a few months. Sumasuki. Oh, goodness. Oh, I wouldn't even say to be 19 again. How about to be 49 again? But, my dear, I hope that you've got something amazing planned. Well, that means you're a holiday birthday. So, what is it? September, October, November. So you fall in that, Thanksgiving to Christmas time frame. November 3rd. Okay, so you are 3 days after Halloween. All Hallowed Eve. Samhain! It's exciting. Did you know that Halloween is actually the Druid New Year? So in the Druidic world, the year actually ends at Halloween. All the candy is mine. Yes, yes. I've got to make sure I place my order for my box of 1960s candy so I can share with you the type of nonsense we used to eat. Red 92 Queen, Your Majesty. It is so awesome to have you here. Hey, Doc. Hi. How are you? What is up? What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. I hope you're walking gently with the world and the world is walking gently with you. And you are our silver medalist. You have come in directly behind the gold medalist, Sumisuki. So you have a medal. Yes! Congratulations, my dear. So we just have to see who ends up being our bronze. Scottish Gamer in for the bronze. You have made it. For a bit a busy day. Was a rough one, but relaxing with some coffee. Carrot cake. Oh my God, I love carrot cake. Oh, it is. Finally, I can talk. Jay was waiting in the wings, but as they say it in the Olympics, congratulations, champions. Take your places on your risers. Wrap yourselves in your national flags as we play your national anthems. Oh my God, I do love carrot cake. Jay Stunzy, finally I can talk, and everybody welcome in the wonderful, the amazing, incomparable Jay Stunzy, the king of New York, the reigning monarch of Staten Island, the whole island. And I will hear no argument to that. Who is my OBJ Stunzobi in all things technical, who is also the Babe Ruth of Call of Duty baseball. Yes, that may end up coming back at some point. Who not only took a baseball bat into Call of Duty, but called his shots. The one, the only moderator supreme, who is absolutely delightful. And who is also going to be my podcast partner at some point once I get things settled. I want to make sure that I get settled wherever I'm going to be, which, fingers crossed we will be able to get that settled by the end of the month. Hey, Doc, Scottish Gamer, how the heck are you? Suzuki, do it! I don't know. Yeah. I'm debating taking my oversized Snuggie to class tomorrow. It's soft, comfy, and literally all the classes are freezing. My dear, I mean, now a Snuggie. Let me just make sure, because sometimes people have different phrases. Are you talking about a onesie? Because onesies are the best thing ever. I have an amazing Christmas onesie that I will be busting out for the holidays. Safe to say we're all in for another cold one this year. Really? Well, today a customer screamed at me because their extremely well done steak was tough. Do they not understand what extremely well done means? Oh my gosh. Can't please everyone. Oh my, Garden Party, song by Ricky Nelson. When did Garden Party come out? Somebody look up Garden Party. But it's all right now. I've learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. Yes! And Red 92 Queen, first off, much love, blessings to somebody who is a member of the service industry. Good for you. It went from 76 degrees right down to 47. Oh, that's a drop. It should be a crime to do that. Yeah, it's like, first off, that's a crime against steak. Now, my dad, when he would order steak, he would go, burn it. It wasn't even about well done, medium well done, whatever. He would just say, burn it. And my mother would say, take my steak, put it on the counter, and show it a picture of a stove. That's as close as I want it to get. My mom, and now I take more after my mom, where, I mean, it better have had a pulse about half an hour ago. But, and my dad, he just wants it turned into shoe leather. My parents were an interesting pair. It's like a wearable blanket, a lounge something. I don't remember what it's actually called. Oh, please myself. Dirty song. Jay. Oh God, Jay, now you've put pictures in my head I don't need. Oh, stop it. Do not warp Garden Party or Ricky Nelson. Tell me about it, and the rain ain't freaking helping. I bet. I'm a medium rare kind of girl from the South. Yep, rare, fist bump high five. Oh yeah, I will actually eat raw hamburger. Which is technically steak tartare, but whenever I made meatloaf, I would just sit, and my mother was that way. We would both sit and nibble on raw hamburger. But yep, I like leaning towards rare. Oh my God, especially for prime rib. Oh, the prime rib, it better be just barely warm on the inside. Jay, that's why I watch this channel. You guys have cheered me up already. Oh, bloodier the better. Jay, fist bump high five. I cannot believe I've never asked you about steak. We've never talked about steak. We've talked about pretty much every food available here, but oh yeah, steak rare. And we love you being a part of this channel, my dear majesty, and we're there for you too. And as always, plug your ears, Jay. If you are a streamer and you're planning on doing some streaming, or whether you're not, please talk about your streams in the chat. We want to know what you stream, when you stream, why you stream, how you stream. Are you on more than one platform? Kick. Are you someone or YouTube? Are you someone who is working on, a follower goal? Maybe you're working on an affiliate goal. Maybe you're working on partner. Hashtag Pat the Partner. This old lady. I made one the other night. You made a rare steak. I need to find out about this. My favorite thing, barbecued ribs. My grandfather has a tradition to make them every year on the 4th of July. Okay, well, then we have the whole thing of, sauce versus dry rub. I used to not be a fan of a dry rub, but then somebody made this dry rub, and it was absolutely amazing. I think they were like a St. Louis type of rib, but oh my gosh. But to me, okay, a rib is absolutely perfect when you bite into it and it has just that little tiny bit of resistance before it slides off the bone. Yes! Hickory brown sugar marinated. Okay, now all you need to do is throw in some of that hot sauce, especially the Creole hot sauce. That would be cool. Oh my gosh. If y'all are into hot sauce, okay, I am not currently sponsored, and all of that stuff, but there is this absolutely amazing hot sauce that Jay introduced me to, and I am an absolute fan. It goes great with everything. The only thing that goes with more in my mind is vodka sauce, but this is like a very, very awesome, and it's not just hot for heat's sake. It has that wonderful flavoring of the heat. I make an orange barbecue. Okay, you had me at orange. For me, when you add orange to something, and I'm guessing you're talking about fresh squeezed orange juice, you put that in there, or then maybe you get like a little bit of the orange oil, get some of that orange zest in there. Oh, that is, I would probably need a moment alone with that. But orange and barbecue rib sauce, that sounds tasty. Always fresh and zest of an orange. Fist bump high five. With crispy onions. I don't know why it is, but at some point on every stream I've ever done, we talk about food. Because food's a wonderful thing. And crispy onions. Oh, dude. I wanted a crispy onions. I'm not sure what he does with it. All I know is that I'm picky about my barbecue sauce. Only Sweet Baby Ray's. Oh yes. Do you know that Sweet Baby Ray actually has a barbecue sauce that has no sugar? and it's actually very tasty. Kindred Nations, code STUNZY, 10% off. Yes. Okay, so this is the link for the sauce. All right, y'all, you need to check this out because that sauce is so good. I got 2 of them. I got to try 2 of them, and it is just amazing. And I mean, it's like eggs, chicken, fish. Yeah, I haven't tried it with, well, I tried it with ground beef, and it tastes amazing. But oh, and you can put it on popcorn, and Jay makes amazing popcorn. But yes, absolutely, that is, in fact, Jay, can you take that link and put it in the fun with food section over in the Discord? That would be great. So, and Jay gets, he gets a little bit. So if you are into an amazing sauce, believe me, this is amazing. I preferably like the sugar. My mom and I both have a thing where we can take the artificial sugar and it leaves a nasty taste afterwards. Yeah. Now it does taste more vinegary, and there's the difference between the sweet sauce and the more vinegary sauce. But so with the hickory brown sugar marinade, like I said, Jay, put some of that hot sauce in it. It will be absolutely amazing. I'll share the barbecue sauce recipe tomorrow when I'm at work. We are getting a barbecue sauce recipe that involves a blah, blah, blah. See, I'm I'm going into food like coma here just by thinking about it. Orange with orange zest. Oh, it is very cool. It can be a batch made. You can freeze it. Hold the phone. What do you mean? You can make barbecue sauce and freeze it? Why has this not been in my life? I will say I'm more of a baker than a cook. Baking takes more science. It seems like baking is more sciencey. Now, I used to do baking. I can whip up a mean thing of cornbread. I'm telling you. I am not big on kitchen stuff, but I will tell you, I can whip up a mean pan of cornbread. Although I prefer to be able to cook it in a cast iron pan. I like baking when it comes to working in the kitchen. Not an expert, though. Yeah. Ooh, can I have cornbread recipe? Oh, God, I have to go look it up. I haven't made it in a dog's age. But yes, I can post the cornbread recipe. But, and I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's like cooking it in a cast iron pan. For some reason, for me, it just comes out better. And you add that little tiny bit of garlic powder, and oh, yes, amazing. Love you, Doc. Love you too, Your Majesty. The Red Queen, yes. And I'm just picturing like the big-headed Red Queen, but she's got your adorable face. And you'd be much nicer. Although, I mean, quite honestly, the Red Queen, she had issues. The poor thing. You could tell why she would grow up kind of messed up. Also, making a vegan-friendly chocolate cake. If anyone wants the recipe, everybody's going to want a recipe. Oh my God, there is nothing like a moist chocolate cake. Oh my goodness gracious, moist chocolate cake directly out, and then you put a nice big lump of French vanilla ice cream with it. Oh. I mean, when it comes to ice cream and cake, I just love like the purity and simplicity of a wonderful French vanilla ice cream. That's probably my favorite ice cream. Let's see. One of my favorite desserts to make is something I make by myself every Christmas for the fam. Mini cherry cheesecakes. We want pictures. Also bought the stuff to make empanadas. Jay, you're killing me. Oh my God, why are you talking so much about amazing food? What kind of empanadas? Are we talking like, the cheese and the meat? Or are we talking, oh my God, brainstorm, rib meat in an empanada with hot sauce. Yes! Oh my God, that would be so good. Jay, rib empanadas. Ooh, Zuma, share that recipe too. Yes. I would need to get it from my mom. She has the recipe. I just make it. I love trying new recipes. Oh my goodness, great. Oh, Red Queen. Okay, so at the point that, I move and get settled, I will bring out just for you my mother's. I have in a box, and I didn't keep much, but I kept my mother's old Betty Crocker, the binder, the Betty Crocker binder with the old recipes in it, and it's from the 1950s. So I will definitely, it's in my storage box. So, when my goal is that, coming up, I'll be able to have a permanent place, and I will get everything out of the box, and that will be one of the things I bring in just to show you. But yeah, it was my mom got it. Her and my dad got married in 1958, and it was something, I think my mom got it as a wedding present. So yes, and it's the pages, you have to be very delicate with them, but I will show that. I think you would probably get a kick out of that. Making the vegan cake as my son has severe egg allergies, so testing it out, ready for his birthday. That is so cool. Beef and cheese. I love the fact that you put beef twice. Oh my God, that would be so good. Oh my God, bacon. I don't think I've ever seen a bacon empanada, because bacon makes everything better. Let's see. Well, I mean, and that's really cool, Queen, that you have, that your son will still be able to enjoy all kinds of stuff and testing it out for his birthday. That is so cool. I think I've talked about it before, but my favorite childhood meal was taco salad. Oh my gosh. My sister and I used to make it together all the time, and the recipe has been drilled into my head from making it so long. Now, do you actually do the flour tortilla bowl? Which my mom, she had this pot that, she would get. I mean, back then we used Crisco and lard, and with a little bit, she always had that can of bacon grease. Fist bump, high five. If any of you had a household, I mean, maybe not you, but maybe your parents or grandparents had that can of bacon grease. My mom had an old Folgers can that used to hold the bacon grease over by the stove, and she would put that, oh my God, French fries fried with bacon grease mixed in with the grease. Amazing! But anyway, she would take it and she would push the flour tortilla in, and but the pan was small enough that the edges would go up. Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. The difference, let's see, from ours compared to normal Taco Bell salad is that we use Cool Ranch Doritos since they add nice seasoning and flavor to the meat. Very cool. Right, Doc. Much love as always. I need to head to bed. Mwah, Your Majesty. We will catch you on the flip side, and thank you so much for stopping by. You have a wonderful, amazing, blessed night's sleep with nothing but happy dreams. Sadly, no tortilla bowl, though I wish we did. It's never too late. Make new memories, and it's interesting. I love that taco salad is a low effort dish, easy to make for the family. Yep. See, that would probably be second only to casseroles. Now, growing up in the 1960s and 70s, it was, the thing was casseroles back in those days. Everybody made casseroles. Iron Eagle, my eagle of iron, hashtag Doxagoomer, how are you, my dear? Yep, I mean, and that was, we had casseroles for everything. Any leftover ended up in a casserole. And, was like, and oh my God, chicken a la king. Anybody remembers chicken a la king, and chicken croquettes and turkey croquettes and fish croquettes, which is basically like a fish patty or fish sticks type of thing. Tired and grumpy. Are you gonna name the other 5 dwarves? I crack me up. Potato croquettes. Iron Eagle. I don't think we've ever had those. Mind blown. Why did not my mother not make potato croquettes? Oh my God, the gelatin spaghetti-o ring. Oh, okay. For those of you who have never had the experience of, hold on, we've got to look up spaghetti-o gelatin ring. I know I'm spelling it wrong. Images. Oh my gosh, the spaghetti-o ring. Oh, see, and that was the other thing. We either put everything in casseroles or we made everything into a Jello mold. And nothing went with that better than Vienna sausages. Oh my gosh. Okay, for those of you who wonder what type of stuff did we eat, and SpaghettiOs, you know, you never go wrong with SpaghettiOs. Hold on. Let me get a good picture. There we go. Hold on. Spaghetti-o ring. Okay, let me. No! Why does it keep going to the wrong picture? Okay, good enough. Alrighty, so spaghetti-o ring. These are SpaghettiOs. If you've never seen SpaghettiOs, it's canned little rings, and then you take and you fill the center with Vienna sausages. Yes, this was a thing we ate back in the 60s. I just remember one of my favorite cooking moments with my grandpa. He's Italian and likes to makes his own pasta. Fist bump, high five for grandpa. So I remember when I used to help him make ravioli. Hey, SpaghettiOs. But yes, this was a thing that anytime anyone had a party, you knew you were going to see this. You knew you were going to see, let me see, what is the other rings? Because we would put anything in gelatin. And it was fruit in gelatin. Okay, more of the SpaghettiOs. And those are SpaghettiOs. Where is some of the other spaghetti things? Gelatin rings. Let's see. I mean, and one of the ones was like green jello with carrot in it. Green jello with carrot. That was a thing. But yes, we put everything in jello because that's what we did. Do they have one with the carrots? Oh my, oh my gosh. Yes, the mac and cheese ring. Trifles are dangerous. Don't trifle with them. Mac and cheese ring. Oh my gosh. I mean, whether it was a protein, whether it was a sweet, you put everything in jello because there was always room for jello. Hold on. Green gelatin ring with carrots. Yep. You always had the green jello with the carrots in it. Oh my God, something like this. Usually we saw a lot of. Doc, knock knock. Who's there? Oh, yep. Yep. Yeah, there was honestly nothing we would not put in. I did a really runny poo. Oh, Iron Eagle. Just take it away to the Punderdome. Just lock it up against a wall. You always seem to find those poo knock knock jokes. Oh, yeah, got me. To the Punderdome, and don't even make eye contact with it. So, my dear ones, making stuff happen. And sometimes it gets tricky because no matter how hard we work, no matter how well we plan, a lot of times things do not go the way we want. And stress comes in when the expectation that we've attached ourselves to before we even finished is not what we end up with. So that can be a tricky part. And when you've reached a place of growth, that's when you realize that the outcome you get is the outcome you get. You can live with it, learn from it, and then use that to be able to get you closer on the next swing to what it is you want. This reminds me of my mom's Jell-O casserole. It's so good. Though most people think it sounds gross, it's better than you think. Mixed berry Jell-O, blueberry and lime. Interesting. Sour cream spread on top when the Jell-O sets. No, that sounds very cool. What did Batman say to Robin? Oh, what? I don't know. What did Batman say to Robin? Stop robbing my stuff. Oh, goodness. You know, it is, yeah. Put that one next to the other one, refuse to speak to it, and put a bag over its head. Off to the Punderdome. And sometimes the things that mean something to us to make happen are a part of a tradition. You know, Sumisuke was talking about, you know, her grandfather and doing the ravioli and the Christmas baking that she does each year. And just think about the stuff in your life that is based on tradition. That the reason you do it is because it's what's always been done. And for my family, you know, one, we based a lot of stuff around food. And two, it was just the way you did it year after year, over and over again. And then when my parents passed, it was like passing that on. There were these Parker House rolls that my mom used to make that were absolutely fantastic. Oh my God, they were the best. And so after my mom passed, and you know, my dad had been gone, one of my sister-in-laws, she used my mother's exact recipe. But they didn't taste the same. It wasn't the same thing because it wasn't from my mom's kitchen, and it wasn't in my mom's kitchen. And one of the things about the things that we want to make happen, sometimes it is because it's that tradition that we carry on. Maybe it's cooking a particular food on the holidays. Maybe it's getting together and doing a particular thing. Maybe everybody gets together for, a gaming night. Or whether you open up your gifts on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, if you do that. Maybe it's how you set up the tree. But it's interesting to think about the types of things that we do just because it's how it's always been done. And there's not anything inherently good or bad about it. Once you take a look at, is it something that adds to your life or takes away from your life? Does it add to your joy or take away from it? And 10K Zaddy, hello. Yo, what's up? What's up with you? I mean, basically, a ceiling fan is up. But welcome. If you're a streamer, please introduce yourself. Let us know, what it is you do, what it is you stream. It's all good here. Yes, I know, under normal circumstances, it drops the band hammer. Or here, it's the band pizza slicer. But we want to know what you're doing. We want to know how we can support. And I hope it's been a wonderful day. I hope you're walking gently in the world. The world is walking gently with you. And if it is not, feel free to, share what's on your mind. If you need to vent a little bit, that's okay too. We don't worry about vibes here. We have, all vibes are good vibes. Authentic vibes are good vibes. And it's okay if you're having a tough day that you can talk about that. Or if you're having a great day, you can share that too. We are here. And I'm off on Monday. I'll bring the letter by unless you need it earlier. I don't think I'll need it, but if I do, because I'm still waiting for that one piece of paperwork from California to show up. I'm hoping it shows up tomorrow. But then I have to, do something over with Social Security. That's going to take time. So Monday should be fine. See if you have some of those empanadas left over. So, what is it that is a thing that you want to make happen? And maybe what you want to make happen is stopping doing something. I know that one of the things that people do usually, at the beginning of the year is they talk about fitness goals. Oh, well, I want to lose this much weight. Or maybe you want to gain a particular amount of weight, because there are people who have to really work to build mass, on their bodies. So whatever it is that you have that you wanted to accomplish, especially as a fitness goal, you still have time at the very least to get it started, because it's really easy to say, well, if I haven't done it by now, I've only got 3 months, just over 3 months left to the year. We're not going to worry about it. Put it on the list for next year. But the thing is, it's never too late to start making something happen. Let's see. White Knights Wendigo. Happy Monday, beautiful people. Well, it takes beautiful people to know beautiful people. Hello, my dear. I might make them over the weekend, so I definitely should. Yes, I need that in my life. And Jay, can you do a shout out for White Knight Wendigo? I don't know why she's not on one of our lists. Let's see. I know at White Knights Wendigo isn't talking to me. I look like a bulldog. You do not. Let's see. How are you? I am awesome and even a little better now that you're here. Y'all, White Knights Wendigo is an absolute delight. Absolutely sweet. And I definitely, say that if you want to connect up with someone who is just, a really awesome listener and has some really amazing, insights, you go check out White Knights Wendigo. And what? Since when am I not talking to you? Thank you, Doc. You're very kind. Again, takes kind to know kind. We've been talking about all kinds of food. Oh my gosh, I don't know what it is about these streams, but we end up, no matter what our topic is, which today it's Make It Happen Monday, maybe making happen something that is really, really, oh my gosh, making a dinner happen. And that was something when we were growing up, it was, because we would, there was no internet, and, you came home from school and there weren't like a gazillion after school activities. So we got home, got our homework done, and, it was a thing growing up in the 60s and 70s. We always had dinner together. And I think, and especially through the whole COVID time, people started getting used to what it meant again to sit down at the dinner table. So consider something that you can make happen. Making a meal, not just the food, but a meal to be shared together. And I think that being able to sit together at a meal, because that was the thing, we weren't allowed to talk about anything that upset us or would upset our parents. And my dad was hilarious. He would say, my mother's mood was always very evident in whatever she cooked. If my mom was upset, the food wouldn't taste the same, because my mother was just like she put everything. She was like one of the old traditional cooks. And as someone who grew up in the 1930s, she was the mom, and the mom cooked. But there were times when my father would sit down, take a forkful of his food, chew it a couple of times, slammed the fork down, and said, "Which one of you little monsters ruined my meatloaf by upsetting your mother?" Silver Architect, or Silver Architect, who is on the stream, who is a wonderful member of my Nameless Family fam, who was playing Satisfactory, but I guess that's been a hot minute. Make the food happen Monday. Ooh, we have dinner as a family every night. You do. It's very important to me, and quickly became one of my top 5 rules for living in the house. Oh my gosh, yeah. And I would be willing to bet. See, White Now Wendigo, I could definitely see you doing that, where if you are not in your happy place, people can tell it. And it's like, all right, who upset the cook? Who upset the cook? Because that was something that that I think that even because it's funny, because when I was growing up, that was kind of when TV dinners started becoming a thing, but we never got to eat those, because my mom's theory was, well, I can make it better than a frozen dinner. But if my parents were having a party and my mom had to get ready for that, then she would go and we'd get to go and get a TV dinner, and we'd get our TV trays and we'd be out in the garage turned family room, and we would get to sit at the TV trays eating. But yeah, that's going to be what I say the next time I accidentally burn the meatballs. New picture on the day out of a fun farm soft play area. Little man's first time on a train. I love trains. To the Discord. Oh goodness, let us check out the little man's pics. Oh, now that's what we used to call, that is a child that's gone for its country. That is napping hard. That's that napping that, you can roll them around and they don't wake up. Oh, and he's awake. I love the hair. I absolutely love the hair. Oh my gosh. Yes. See, he already knows to recognize the camera. Yay. Oh, sitting up. Look at him. Oh, wow. Oh, out and about. Nice. Oh, he is going to have a head full of red hair. That is going to be so cool. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much for sharing. The first one was at the end of the day. Aw, so sweet. Yes. That was watching his first train. Oh, and it really is very cool when we can watch somebody do something for the first time, or we can experience that. And whether it's a young child, whether it's a baby seeing something for the first time, I remember that the fact that, the day that my sons recognized themselves in a mirror, that freaked me out, because they were like, and it was like, oh my God, they are becoming self-aware. But, that idea of, being able to be there when watching somebody else make something happen for the first time. And, I think we've all probably experienced that, whether it's, watching a kid win their first race or competition, whether it's, and it could be somebody streaming for the first time. Or, maybe they make affiliate for the first time. Or, there's a lot of important firsts. Baking your first souffle. But we need to make sure that we're giving value to that. Because all of those firsts, and especially the ones that you're experiencing, the first time you fall in love and the first time your heart gets broken, those are two things you never forget. The first time you get behind the wheel of a car to, learn how to drive, the first time you ride a bike, the first time you learn to swim. And when we look at all of those firsts that were in our lives, our first child, and being able to understand that that's a very, very sacred moment And when we witness it in somebody else, when we see somebody else go through that, I mean, one of my favorite things is going into the stream of someone who is streaming their first stream. And because a lot of times, I've got a lot of people who I follow on Twitter, and somebody will be saying, it's like, hey, I'm doing my first stream tonight. And I go and I make sure that I follow them. Because when you go in, and I mean, this is something anybody who streams, you remember that first time you hit start stream and you stared into that camera and it was like, hi. Or that first time you tried gaming on a stream and you're like, wait a minute, I have to pay attention to the chat, I have to pay attention to the game. Why do I suck at this all of a sudden? So, but all of those firsts, because our entire life is made up of firsts. I for the first time, I moved across country driving all by myself. I mean, I doubt if I'll be doing it again, but I may drive across country again. But the idea of uprooting and moving away from everything I knew. And, it's like, I wasn't quick enough to catch you have a laugh at himself in a work mirror like the ones you get at the fair. He went into giggle mode and was infectious with the other babies and toddlers in the area. Yes. Right now I'm looking at the lasts. My last baby, oh my God, started kindergarten this year, and it's been a big adjustment for both him and I. It's been emotional. That is probably one of the biggest firsts, is when our children take their first day at school. That first day of that separation where their world has suddenly gotten exponentially bigger. And yeah, it can be rough. Oh, my dear Wendigo, that is your baby started kindergarten about, what, they've been married for 12 years? No. They've been married for 9 years. I think they've been married for 9 years. Yeah, but when my baby got married, when my baby, went off and started his own life and moved across country. And yet, I look back at those days, that hand holding yours, those uncertain steps that knew that they were certain when they were holding your hand. And the emotional part where you have to let that hand go because they need to step up into that world, that brand new world. And I remember it was, have a good day, learn something new, I love you. Every time they went to school. And being there for when they come home and talk about their day, which may have been a good day, may have been a bad day. But yeah, it's something that I remember. None of my kiddos are old enough for that yet, but they're getting there. My oldest is 16 already, and the twins are 11. Oh my gosh. Oh, and 16 is such a fascinating period because they're like this close. They're within, they see that finish line of 18. And like I say, the finish line is the starting line for the next race. And when, especially teenagers, and how many of us remember when we were a teenager at 16 or 17 thinking, you know what, I am this close to being an adult, I'm going to go, I'm going to do what I want, nobody's going to tell me what to do. It's like, I laugh back, when I look back and think that I was thoroughly convinced that as soon as I turned 18, no one would ever be able to tell me what to do. I could do anything I wanted. I could stay up late if I wanted. I could, the world was my oyster. And the first time that I moved into an apartment with friends, and I think the biggest issue, and tell me if this resonates. The first time you move out, you've got your own room, you're feeling grown, you open the refrigerator and realize, and I was actually surprised that there was no food in it. because my entire life there had always been food in the refrigerator. And I'm looking, it's like, wait a minute, where's all the food that's supposed to be here? And then it dawned on me, I have to get to food. So I did end up visiting my parents quite often. But yeah, you have that point where you feel like you're on the edge of this amazing adventure. And then you cross that line and realize the adventure's just beginning. But I do make sure I cherish whatever they're willing to tell me about their days every day. Yep. And that was the big thing, because when my kids were young, it was, dinner at the table, and sometimes their friends would come over, they could have dinner with us. But, we sat at the table, we talked about things, and, that was a very special time. Oh, damn, I do. I was angsty as hell. Yep. Yeah, I know the feeling. Been there with my oldest at 21. Yep. Daughter just turned 16. Finished secondary school, aka high school. Just started hairdressing college. Yes. And now I have it all again with little man. I mean, a Silver architect. Silver, I have so much admiration for you, because at that age it was like, the idea of starting over. Granted, you definitely know the territory, so that definitely helps. One of the women who I graduated high school with, by our 10th high school reunion, she had 10 children. And I mean, she was one of the cheerleaders. And if there was anybody that I knew for a fact, I mean, we believed it's like she would probably, if she had any kids, she might have one. But the fact that she had 10, and, it was amazing, because, it's like you're telling me you popped out a baby every year between now and then. Oh, that song! And we have Survival Steve coming in with a raid. Party of 2, your table is ready. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire, y'all. Survival Steve, who is an absolutely amazing streamer, who I got to know from him playing, 7 Days to Die, with all of the zombie apocalypse types of things. And I have a phobia about zombies. I have like a straight up phobia. I have so many distinct zombie apocalypse plans, and I had to add one because Survival Steve, he knows how to make traps that turn zombies into smoothies. And Snoring Bush, my god of ghillie suits. At that point, you aren't trying to have kids, you're trying to build an army. You got me on cheerleaders, yes! Oh my gosh, we've been hanging out for over 2 years. Nice, 2 years, 3 months, 14 days, and 4 hours. I always say more than 3 is a football team, more than 8 is an army. Oh my gosh. But, it's like, I mean, and she kept having them. She didn't have them like year after year, but she, by our 20th anniversary, her oldest daughter was pregnant. She had like, I think one or two more babies after that. And her oldest daughter was pregnant at the same time that she was. And it's like, okay, can you stop at 12? By the 20-year reunion, she had just had their 12th child. And all I can think is, what does this guy do for a living? I mean, I know what she does. She stays home and manages a dozen kids. But, it's like, what does the father do for a living? Oh my gosh. Let's see. 2 years, 159 days. Let's see. 2 years, 5 months, 6 days, and 3 hours. Yes, I'm fine with the 2 kids I have. Yep. I mean, and for those who want to make happen, having, to own a tour bus in order to go anywhere. The largest family when I was in school, because, I mean, Back then, big families were a thing. 15 kids in one family. And that was like, okay, you just are a parent forever. You just, when you have 15 kids, no twins, not one set of twins. But for some people, that's what they like. For some people, that is what fulfills them. And I'm like, okay, that is, cheers or slancha. I have huge respect because there was a time when that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom with a house full of kids. And, and that's one of those things where where you consider what you want to make happen, because what we want to make happen at any given point in our life may not be what we want to make happen later. Back in that day, I wanted to my goal was at least 6 kids. But it turned out that wasn't what happened. We have I have 2 wonderful sons. And when I consider where my life would have gone had I made that happen, even though I wanted it very much, had I made it happen then, I don't know where I'd be now. I just worked out we'll be 63 when little man turns 18. Seriously? So you will be literally 2 years older than I am now when little man turns 18. Oh my God. My grandma was one of 8, and she says that once the kids are old enough, they start helping to take care of the smaller kids. I couldn't imagine having any more than the 4 I have. Oh my gosh. And that's really true, because back in the day, like 60s and 70s, it was always because everything was about home. And, you needed kids for cleaning. You needed, there was childcare. It's like, hire a babysitter? No. You have the older kids draw straws, and one of them isn't going out tonight. So you would have that. There was always that strong sense of home and community. Everybody had chores. I don't even know if kids these days do have chores. Do they have chores today? If not, they should. Chores were wonderful. Well, not when I was living through them. But that idea that everybody was responsible for, maintaining the house. We were taught from we were in elementary school. And my mom taught us how to do our own laundry. We each had a day to do the laundry. And, mine was Wednesdays. And so Wednesdays was my day that after school I would go and I would, do my load of laundry. Mine sure as hell do. See, it is that appreciation. And I do think that was something that helped to kind of cement that sense of family. And I think it is something because, even when my sons were growing up, there was always after school stuff. There were things then, my sons got to pick. It's like, okay, you can choose one sport, one club, and if you want, you could be in scouts. But that was it. So, it wasn't about every night, having something that the kids had to do. And my youngest son, he did basketball for a while, and then he decided that he didn't really enjoy it. So it is about kids I think kids do so well having responsibilities. And because, I was raised by 2 Air Force sergeants. So it was not a matter of if we were doing chores. It was, okay, how many are you going to be doing? We actually had a job board. And it was like, okay, this week, and my mom would, put in our names. It was even before whiteboards. My mom had she would tape the job up, and she would tape one of our names up to it. Including, and once we got a dog, cleaning up after the dog, walking the dog. Responsible for keeping their rooms cleaned. Each have their own job to do when it comes to the dishes. They all do their own laundry aside from baby Wendigo. Very good. And I know baby Wendigo is going to learn that soon enough. My oldest has 5 brothers and 1 sister, and my daughter has 6 brothers, and little man has 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Nice. Blended families. Those are awesome. So, considering the fact that, and that is an important thing to consider in that whole what we want to make happen. And part of making something happen, yes, we have that cool thing that we want, and we need to balance that with the reality of what we need to do to maintain it. It's sort of like, getting a dog. Now, we didn't get a dog until we were, let's see, I think we were in elementary school. I think I was in like 5th grade, maybe 4th grade, when our family got a dog. And that became, it's like, oh, okay, well, we have to take care of it, because my mom was not, she goes, I am not going to be the only one cleaning up after this dog. I'm not going to be the only one walking the dog. So y'all need to figure this out. So as much as we wanted the dog, we needed to understand that it was a responsibility. It's like, when your kids want to drive, there's a responsibility to it. That idea of getting your first car. Fist bump, high five for anybody who remembers getting their first car. And, what you had to do, what it meant to have that. It's like, oh, okay, we got to do maintenance. I got to pay for insurance. We got to be able to put gas into it. I have to be a responsible driver. So everything that it is that we want to make happen, we need to understand that there's a price attached to it, and there are consequences from it. So, and MSB, Richard, hey Doc, hey, how are you? So it doesn't mean that, if something is hard or has a lot of maintenance that has to go with it, a lot of logistics to put into place, it doesn't mean we shouldn't go for it. It doesn't mean just because it's hard doesn't make it impossible. But we do need to be able to take into consideration the price of our dream, because it does have a price. Well, technically, the only time it has a price is when we actually make it happen. Because, there's a lot of people, I forgot you were on, but you made it anyway. Good for you. There's a lot of people who will just keep dreaming, and they talk about their dreams. They talk about, well, one of these days I'm going to ... fill in the blank. And the longer people get into that pattern of going, oh, well, one of these days, and then those days go by. Believe me, I know how fast those days can go by. And then suddenly you start thinking, maybe I'm too late. Now, if it's streaming, I will tell you, it's never too late, because I'm old and I stream. I think elves make my computer work. It was hilarious. The guy who's Airbnb, whose home I'm staying in, and he came into the room and he saw, the computer, and he saw the 2 monitors and the tower and all that, and he goes, man, it looks like NASA in here. Oh, you got a new ring light because your old one fell apart. Good for you. Problem solving. Make it happen. Yes. So, the idea that there's nothing wrong if you're going to dream big. But that doesn't mean every dream has to be a big involved one. You could have a small dream. And those are pretty easy to do. Maybe reading a particular book. If it's your dream to be able to just sit down and read a book, that's cool. That's an awesome thing to be able to do. Or maybe cook a particular dish. Or maybe, at least once, especially if your family is kind of scattered, to get together and plan a big family dinner. And to be able to sit and talk to one another over the table. That is a very cool thing. And being able to understand that, whatever it is you want to do, go for it, but understand that there's going to be work behind it. And the only time success comes before work is in the dictionary, as the old saying goes. So making sure that you are prepared for the consequences of making something happen. Now, I made happen leaving the home I knew up on a mountain in a cabin to travel across country and basically start from scratch. And yeah, that dream had a lot of costs to it, both financially and emotionally. And we do have to consider the emotional cost of making our dreams happen, especially if it's a dream that's going to take you somewhere else, because there are folks you're going to have to say goodbye to. Or maybe it's not you that's going, but maybe your kids. Maybe watching, your child go to college and having to stand there and see them go. That's heartbreaking. Watching someone else spread their wings and fly away, even though we really don't want them to go. So being able to decide that's the price you pay. And everything, as I said, has a price. Everything that we want to do is going to cost us something. And especially if it is about stepping out into a bigger world. Especially if following that dream means following it somewhere else. And maybe it means, that you have evolved past the people that you know. Because that can happen too. That, for you to step up into something means that you say goodbye to the people who aren't ready to take that leap yet. Got the ring light plugged in and it's working! Yay! Let's hear it for the plugged in ring light. Yay! So, keeping in mind that the thing you want to make happen, whether it's a big thing or whether it's a little thing. I mean, even if it's just, wow, I'd really like to read that particular book. You're going to have to arrange time. You're going to have to take time away from something else in order to make time to sit down and read. And while that seems like, it might be just a very little thing, it's really not. Because you are prioritizing something that you want to accomplish. And, it's hard when you've got a bunch of little ones. It's hard when, maybe you've got a partner who is like, why are you sitting there staring at that book? I want attention. Which can happen. And that is a very important part of making things happen, is letting other people get on board with what we want to make happen. And maybe it's you've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu. Maybe you've always wanted to see the pyramids. And maybe that person you're with has absolutely no interest in it. I mean, like zero. And it's like, okay, well, you get to plan that trip. And it means, figuring out how you want to do that. And it means that your partner needs to be able to sign on to be on board with it. So how do you manage that in a good way? How do you bring other people into the dream that you have without having them take it away from you, or at least detract from it? So being able to hold that dream for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with holding a dream for ourselves. It's not selfish to hold a dream for yourself. It is not selfish to say, you know what, this is something that really means a lot to me. I want to see the pyramids of Egypt. I want to see the Roman Colosseum. I want to see the Great Wall of China. I want to see the Amazon. And even if it's somebody else who says, well, I don't want to see that, that doesn't mean that you give up on what you want to do. And yes, it means, especially if you're involved in a family, it's like, okay, how do we manage this, first financially? without causing the family to suffer. So it may mean that you're going to have to save up for it for quite a while. Or maybe the agreement is, getting an extra job or some sort of side hustle, delivering DoorDash or Uber Eats, and saying, okay, this that I make will be going towards this dream I have. Maybe it's going back to college. And you've got kids. I went back to college while my kids were young. And it was tricky, but I managed it. And fortunately, my husband, my then husband, now my husband, who is a delight, he's really cool. The fact that he was able to sign on and be okay with that journey that I was on. So it's not so much about, going into a confrontational place with someone saying, well, look, this is what I want to do. This is my dream. Back in the 70s, it was a thing about, people leaving their marriages to go find themselves. I mean, honestly, in most cases, the thing that they were looking for was already inside of them. They didn't have to leave, but maybe they did need some time separate in order to, and oddly enough, it was mostly women. There was a thing where it was like, I was in elementary school, and, it was like half of my friends, all of a sudden their moms were moving out of the house and going away and going somewhere else. And, and it was like the dads were there, like, because back in those days, the moms handled everything at home. And maybe that was a part of it because they felt that they had lost their identity under the umbrella of being mom. It was, I mean, they rarely even got called by their first names anymore. It was Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Johnson or Mrs., in my mom's case, Mrs. Augustine. So I could see how there would be that feeling of, I don't know who I am without being the mom or the dad, or, so it was a very difficult time because people got hit in the face with the idea that, outside of being what other people need me to be, I have no idea who I am. And I guess I did experience a bit of that because when I went up to live on the mountain when I turned 50, that was the first time I had lived alone. And frankly, I had no idea what to do about it. And, and some of you this may actually resonate where, if you're a mom or a dad or, an aunt or an uncle or, or a kid, the young people, there's that sense of, okay, well, you need to get your grades and you need to do this and you need to do that. And, and you're responding to all the rules and people want you to fit into a particular mold. And maybe you don't fit into that mold. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to do, maybe you want to do something totally different. And the people around you, the adults around you are going, well, that's no way to make a living. You need to figure out what do you want to be when you grow up? And frankly, I wish that adults would stop asking children that. Because I was almost 60 when I figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it's what I wanted to be when I was a child, which is an actress. But before that, I wanted to be a chiropractor. And I became that. I wanted to be a medicine woman. And I became that. I wanted to be someone who lived in the cabin in the woods on a mountain surrounded by trees next to a river. And I became that. I wish that, rather than saying, what do you want to be when you grow up, which means that, it's like I have to choose one thing, to alter it to, what are the types of things that you would love to do one day? Oh, well, I'd love to be an astronaut. I'd love to be a ballerina. I'd love to be, a presidents. I'd love to be a corporate leader. I'd love to be, and these days probably is like, I'd love to be a TikTok star or a social media influencer, whatever it is. But I think by changing it to, what would you love to do, as opposed to what do you want to be? I mean, even if it's just to answer happy, we have to spend our whole lives figuring out what that means. Let's see. I still don't fully know who I am. I never got the chance to find out without the trauma as a child. Yeah. And then became a mom very young. I hustled like mad to give my kids a good life and to be a good mom and a good wife. And you are. There was no room for me to explore my true and genuine self. I'm now taking the time to find out me. Good. The things I like, don't like, my dreams and aspirations. Yeah. And like I said, I didn't get a chance to really do this until I was 50. And my sons were grown. And that's a really hard thing to do when you still have that, you literally have to walk between worlds. Because you still have to walk that world of the one that your kids depend on and who is holding home and hearth together. And then at the same time to be that you. I didn't even know what I liked to eat. I mean, there were my favorite foods. But the first time when I moved up to the cabin and I was there, I was by myself, and it was like my whole life, well, what do you want for dinner? I was the one asking, but when there was nobody else, and it's like, well, what do I want for dinner? It threw me off because there was no one else to defer my choices to. And it is a very, very tricky thing, and I'm very proud of you for taking that on now. Just coming to check in with you. Yes, we've got our Mr. Radio, Radio, who I had so much fun hanging out with this afternoon. Love you so much, Doc. Thanks for stopping by earlier today. Abso-freaking-lutely. It was so fun. And, Mr. Radio, let's see, Jay, are you out there? Can you do a shout out for Mr. Radio? Because, oh my goodness, we had so much fun this afternoon. We had so much huge fun because we were, Mr. Radio was playing the guitar and, singing songs. He had a list that you could pick songs off of for him to do. It really was. It was a hoot, and I would guess Jay probably stepped out, so we are going to, I can do it myself. It's so weird having to ask yourself what you want for dinner when you're alone. Yes. I'm just allowing myself to rest and to not feel guilty when I order instead of cook. Fist bump, high five. Or play a video game instead of mop the floors. The floors will be there. It is. And I think that it is crucial that we learn how to be alone. Are you happy with the company you keep when you're by yourself? When you take away everybody else, who are you when you're alone? And like I said, that was something, it took me months to really get comfortable with the idea that when I came home and sat down, it was just me. And, and not everybody has that. Hey, Doc, my Frankenstein experiment is back up and running. I sent it on Discord. Show and tell. We will definitely check that out. And, and being able to give yourself time and when to go. I'm so proud of you for that. Because that's one of the things that we don't get encouraged to do very often. Thank you for the shout out. Speaking of eating, I'm going to go eat food. Enjoy the Loving Lurkers Lounge. Refreshments are in the corner, and feel free to put your feet on the furniture. Let's see. And we have to the Discord. And show and tell. MSB, the Frankenstein experiment is back on course. Let's take a look at this. Bam. Oh, wow. We got the 2 monitors. We've got the camera. We've got the ring light. Lit up keyboard. Nice. Oh, he's sitting there taking the picture inside with the camera. Oh, that's very Inception. But yeah, that is a very cool thing. Thank you so much for sharing it. Your worth is not based on how productive you are. It's something that I'm unlearning. Yeah. And your worth is not based on what you do for others. It is a part of you, but to me, that is not about what you are worth, because that is something that is not based on our relationship with the world around us. Our value, it's like when I say you are the only you in all the universe, the only you that's ever been and the only you that will ever be. More on that later. And because of that, you carry worth and value even doing nothing. And, and especially, that whole concept of the mom and it's difficult on both sides. And the reason why there was, we had, in some cases, it was the mom in the 70s who left to go find themselves. In other cases, it was the dad, because it was like, for men, you were expected, your choices when you left school were, married and working, military and married, prison, or college, until you go to college. And the only reason you went to college was you go to college to get a job so you can get married and do that thing. I mean, their whole thing was, no, you have to support, because of the fact that most of the moms were stay-at-home moms. So there was a lot of pressure on the men. And of course, back then, a man showing emotion, the only emotion that they were allowed was anger. And it was always about, wait till your father gets home. Which meant, and my dad used to say, he always hated the idea of that, because that meant he had to come home and be the bad guy. He had to be the one we were afraid of. And so he said that he was actually very jealous of my mom, because she got to be, and it was weird because they both kind of resented the fact that they each thought the other had the easier job. And being able to just be yourself, to be able to figure out, okay, part of me is a parent, part of me is a spouse, part of me is a worker, but there's all these other parts of me as well. I hate to have to dip out, but I have to go grab my kiddos from school, 100%. If I don't make it back before you're gone, please know that I love you. I love you too, sweetie. And I hope all you beautiful, beautiful people have an awesome Monday. We will. It's a bit cramped, but I can work with it. Of course you can. And that is also a part of making things happen. Sometimes we make it happen and it doesn't fit quite right. And then we have to work with it. We have to allow it to learn to accommodate to us. So being able to, I still got to figure out OBS for the life of me. Oh, well, I'm sure, were you able to get a hold of Cyber King? Did the two of you get together? And believe me, it's a work in progress, but once you get used to it, there's only a couple of things. Once it gets set up, there's only a couple of things you need to do, and it's just like click, click, you're golden. So hopefully Cyber King will be able to get you all settled out with that. And, being able to take those... Didn't respond to your DMs. What? Why? How? Yeah, because I know he had said to get a hold of him a bit ago. So, yes, I'm sure that he may show up tonight. He may, let's see, I'm sure that he's around somewhere. So, if he checks in, then we'll definitely touch base on that. So, you know, deciding what you want to make happen, what the price is for what you want to make happen, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's the price of disappointing someone or feeling like we disappoint them. Maybe it's even that idea of abandoning. You know, that person is going to say, well, you abandoned me in order to follow your own dream, which is selfish. No, it's not. Because the more we are able to step out into who we feel we're meant to be, and the thing is, being able to know yourself, this above all, to thine own self be true. Yes, it is above all to be true to yourself. And the thing is that figuring out who you are is an ever-moving goalpost. Because whatever it is that you do, however it is that you grow, that is going to change who you are. Every new experience you have, as you integrate that into yourself, that tells you who you are becoming. But there's not a point when it's like, and now I know everything there is to know about me. If you're still out here breathing and functioning in the world, anything could happen on any given day that will change a perception that you have, either about yourself or about your relationship with the world around you. And that's a good thing. That is is probably busy with something, ain't gonna bug them. I mean, it's not bugging to just say, oh, hey, I hadn't heard from you. Were you still up for this? You know, that's not bugging. It's all right. You know, I know that there is some stuff that he has going on a bit, but, you know, and stuff happens and we lose track of things. So just to say, you know, hey, I've got my setup ready. So if you're still interested, then, you know, we can pick a time to get together, and then you set a time. So, you know, and I'm glad you bring that up, because sometimes when we make something happen, we have to involve other people, and we need to have it be okay to interact with that person, to ask for help, to, you know, to give somebody a reminder. And, you know, it does go into that place. It's like, well, you know, I don't want them to be upset. They're probably not. I mean, in fact, I would flat out say that Cyber King, you know, he would not be upset at being reminded, you know, or to, you know, kind of put the question out there, you know, say it's like, oh, well, would you be available within the next couple of days? You know, it's not like saying, well, I want you there at 4 o'clock, you know, Central Time, and, you know, and all of this other stuff. You know, it doesn't have to be a demanding thing, but just a gentle reminder is cool. Hang on, got to make a phone call. You do that, my dear. So being able to make stuff happen, and that is a part of the price for it. That is a part of the thing that we have to do in order to make something happen, is that we have to step up and move past that kind of sense of insecurity and say, hey, I need your help. Or if somebody agreed to help, to let them know. It's like, oh, well, you know, I'm sure you're really busy, and we had talked about you helping me with this. Is that something you're still available to do? And when would be a great time for you? See, when you can structure what it is, because the person can always say, you know what, I'm really sorry, but a bunch of stuff came up. It turns out I'm not going to be able to help you. At least that's an answer. And you can go, oh, wow, you know, well, thanks for the offer anyway. Do you know of somebody else that might be able to help me? So by creating a dialogue, as opposed to, I'm not going to ask because I don't want to offend them, and I don't want to come across as somebody who's being really, you know, needy. You know, we tell ourselves a lot of stories about what other people are thinking, even though we have no idea what they're thinking. And that's something we have to be able to move past in order to get to that place of, just ask. Just do it. And part of just do it is just ask. Ask for help. And be willing to accept the answer no. And if the person says, wow, you know what? No, I can't help you. It's like, oh, okay, well, thanks for the thought. And then you move on. Then you figure out a different way. So it can be, one of the trickiest things about making something happen is not the idea of picking something you want to make happen. And you can have as many things as you want. That you don't have to just pick one thing. And once you decide on something you want to make happen, it does come down to, okay, how? How are we going to manage this? What do I need? First, what resources do I have now that work toward making it happen? And once you figure out what you have to work with, then it's like, okay, what am I going to need that I don't have? Actually, the first one would probably be making a list of what you need. Then figure out what you have already and take all the things that you have off the list. Whatever remains is, okay, these are the things I need. Where can I find them? Where can I get them? Who is a resource that I can tap into for this? And at that point, it comes down to, okay, when am I going to do this? When do I start making it happen? Maybe it's a fitness goal, which if it's a fitness goal, no time like the present. If you decided at the beginning of the year that you were going to get into better shape, then okay. If it's still light enough outside, go walk up and down the block. That's a beginning. Decide what you want. Decide what you need to make it happen. Figure out what you already have. And then what do you need? And then when to begin. Which is usually, once you have all the pieces that you need to assemble it. Now, do you have to wait for the perfect time? Let's say it's streaming. There is no perfect time to start streaming. People who do it with a laptop, some people do it with just their cell phones. Some people use a tablet. And some people have, multi-monitors and a nice big tower with all kinds of pretty lights in it. And being able to take what you have and understand that that's a good enough to start. It's good enough to set stuff into motion. If you want to get into better shape, well, I'm going to need a gym membership. Well, maybe that would help. Well, I need to get a personal trainer, but I don't have personal trainer money and all of this stuff. But that doesn't mean that you can't start by just walking up and down your block. Maybe once in the morning and once in the evening. That was also something that was big in the 60s. It's like after dinner, our dads would, be out there and they would take a walk, and it was called your evening constitutional. And, people just walked up and down the street in the evening after dinner, and they'd say hi to each other. Sometimes my dad would, he'd be watering the lawn in the evening on summer evenings. If it was colder or winter time, then, my dad would, he wouldn't go out for his evening walk, but, he would still, play with the dog or something, or we'd sit down and we'd talk about what happened at school and all of those things. And yeah, some days you'll be able to do it and some days you won't. And working that into having that be okay, as far as, it's like, oh my gosh, I've started streaming and I've got a schedule and now I have to keep it under penalty of death. No, because life happens. Life interferes. Consistency is important, and being able to be as consistent as you possibly can be is a very cool thing, and it is very important. And you can't get yourself so locked into the expectation. Well, let's see, if I'm going to lose weight, I need to lose at least 2.5 pounds every week so that I have a 10-pound loss after 4 weeks, and then I'll be able to get into that, really good looking outfit that I wanted to get into by the time the holidays come in. Yeah, but if you lock yourself in and say, well, I'm going to lose 2.5 pounds every week, which is a lot. Technically, that goes above and beyond. I mean, it depends. Usually, each week would be like, what is it, 1% of your weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then you would lose 2 pounds a week. So that idea that, how much you need to lose. But, anybody who has ever tried to, change their weight, whether it's gaining weight or losing weight, you're going to hit plateaus. You know that there's going to be times when it's like, but I'm doing all the right things. Why did I gain this week? And we can't get so wrapped up in the idea of, no, this is what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to lose 2.5 pounds a week. And then you weigh in, and that's not the case. Growth is about being okay with that. It's about playing the long game. Understanding that some weeks you're going to have, a greater gain than others. Some weeks you're going to plateau. Some weeks, for whatever reason, maybe you're retaining water. Maybe you went to a birthday party. Whatever. It's going to be kind of one of these as you work your way towards your goal. So being able to have that flexibility in deciding, okay, I want to achieve a certain thing. Let's say you want to, you stream and you want to make affiliate. If you say, well, I need to get so many followers each day, and then I'll be able to make affiliate within the first month and all of that, and that may or may not be true. This is all very unpredictable. Some days you get a whole bunch of people in, and some days you don't. Some streams are way more popular than other streams. Does that mean that, it's like, oh, well, if this stream didn't do as good as this one, then I'm going to give up doing this, and maybe you like doing that. So being able to figure out what it is that is a good way to set benchmarks, because it helps if we have like those little milestones that we can pass. If you say, okay, well, I want to get, closer to my goal, and it's like saying that you want to be able to make affiliate in 1 month. That's a lot. That is a whole lot. So take out the, do you really need a final date? I mean, if you're going to be traveling somewhere and you have to have something done before you travel, yeah. And if you have a work assignment, then you only have a certain amount of time to do that, yeah. Pretty much everything else, we've got a lot of flexibility when it comes to timing. And yes, we tell ourselves, well, I want to lose, like 5 sizes by the time the holiday hits, and figuring out exactly what that is and exactly what that means. By locking ourselves into that finish line and trying to lock it in place, it's like, you know what? Maybe you get it done by then, maybe you don't. Because when we do say, it's like, well, by this time, and the thing is, if you're the one setting the rules, that means you can change them. If you're the one who says, well, no, I need to reach this goal in 30 days, short of it being something that you need to provide for someone else that's due in 30 days, if you just arbitrarily said, oh, well, I want this done in 30 days, and there's no reason why it can't, you made the rule. You can change it. I want to lose a total of, I'm working on that now. well, I want to lose a total of this. And I would always put down like the goal weight, and it would be, I get within a certain distance of it, and then, I would get flustered or whatever, I would plateau. So I decided, it's like, okay, if the last 10 pounds are always the hardest to lose, how about if I set the goal at 10 pounds? Now, do I ultimately want to only be 10 pounds lighter? No. But if I set the goal at 10 pounds, who says that I can't set another one after that? I make that goal, yay, do my touchdown dance, and then I make another goal for another 10 pounds. So that way I never get stuck in that you can't lose the last 10 pounds if the entire goal is 10 pounds. So I reach that point, and then it's like, okay, we reset, we start a new one. And the new one is the next 10 pounds. And I reach that, do my touchdown dance, and then set the goal for the next 10 pounds. So sometimes by slowing ourselves down, by taking it into smaller bites, by bringing down the expectation of what it is that we want to have done, and making it more reasonable, making it more gentle, making it less of a burden and less of a, oh my gosh, it's like a month has passed and now I need to lose twice as much weight, and and I still want to make it. And that's when people start finding unhealthy ways to do things. That's when we start wanting to, when you stream, and I don't know of anybody who hasn't either in their stream or watched it happen where somebody pops in with bots, you can buy followers. And I've known some people who have said it's like, well, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing. Maybe, maybe it'll bump me up over the top. But buying followers and and buying engagement, it's not real. And what's more important than making some sort of an arbitrary goal of, well, by this time I want my stream to be this far along, make sure you want it real, because that is where you're getting all your value. That is where you're learning. That is where you are growing. And when you look back and you do make that goal that you wanted, whether it's affiliate or partner or just a level of followers, you'll know it's real. It's not made up. It's not just for show. And I never saw the sense in that. I never saw the sense in doing things just for show. But and buying followers just means that every once in a while you got to buy them, because that thing is going to dip eventually. I think usually the followers are only good, for like a certain amount of time, and then they start to fall off. I don't know if it's like a permanent thing, but being able to say, I did it my way. I did it the honest way. I did it the way that keeps me in integrity. And yeah, you could always buy followers, but what does it really bring you? It gives you an artificial number that, quite frankly, is not fooling the platform. And I think it really takes away from something. It's like, you have the kid who cheats on an exam, and everybody else is like, wow, you did so good, but you didn't. It's a lie. And you pass, let's say, you cheat on an exam, pass the test, but then the next test is based on the information that was on the last test, and you don't know that. So it just makes it harder. So being in integrity actually takes a lot of stress off, because you don't have to pretend that you're something that you're not. You don't have to maintain an unreachable standard. You can just be you. And that can be a pretty tricky thing all by itself. So being able to be gentle enough with yourself that the learning curve is okay. Taking one step at a time is okay. Even taking a couple of steps forward and then a couple of steps back is okay. There's nothing wrong with stepping back, because that just means when you step forward again, you know what's there. You know what to expect. And your best is good enough. So being able to step forward again means that you can do so with confidence. And, once we can get out of the whole idea that we have our heads wrapped around how other people view us and what other people think of us. And yeah, you sit there, you look at that, under Twitch stats, and, everything else is in white, and 6 views, or viewers, which, there's more than 6 of you in here. So I never quite know what the total thing on how they actually count the viewers, because I've had people who are talking in chat and it'll say 0 viewers. So whatever. But the thing is that if we get so caught up in the appearance that we're not moving forward, that we're not making things happen, it can actually be a huge, block to us being able to just do what needs doing. When we're taking time to consider what other people think of us, it does make it really hard, because we add that pressure onto the thing we're trying to achieve. And the most important thing is, when we add pressure to the thing we're trying to achieve, we take away the joy of it. It turns into something we have to do, not something we get to do. And every process holds that amazing magic. And every process that we go through to achieve something, there really is, that is a special time. And if we miss out on that, if we just kind of barrel through, there's a lot we miss about the process. And it's the process that gives us the greatest gifts. And when we look back at, it's like, man, this is what I had to go through in order to achieve this. And we actually think about it. I did a thing. I did a cool thing. And being able to say that, you worked your way through all the steps. So, figuring out what you want, figuring out what you need to do it, figuring out what you already have, figuring out what you need, figuring out where to find it or with who, and then deciding how you know when you've reached your goal. What is that thing? We were using the example of streaming. So yeah, when you get that email saying, you're now an affiliate, which feels very good. It feels very nice. It was very exciting, when I did that. And, when I went to TwitchCon, I got to have the affiliate badge. Yeah. And then you do your touchdown dance, and then realize that, okay, here's the next part of it that we need to do. Once you do, because it's very easy to fall into the idea of that one finish line and we're golden. If I could just make affiliate, then I wouldn't have to worry about, then that's all we focus on is, I want to make this next step. But that next step is by no means the last step, or is very rarely. So bam, you've made affiliate. Bam, all I want to do is be able to pass my finals so I can graduate. Okay, you've graduated. All I want to do is find the right person and fall in love and get married. Fine. You found the right person, and, they're playing the bridal march and all of that stuff, and somebody like me, I've done it before, it's actually a lot of fun, saying, I now pronounce you, spouses, husband and wife, wife and husband, husband and husband, wife and wife, whatever. But, you achieve that. And then you're at the reception and everybody's taking pictures and everybody's smiling and you're looking at your beloved and, and it's like, we're married. And then the next day it's like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm married. What do I do? And the finish line is the starting line for the next race. And then it's, okay, I found this person. Now the maintenance comes in. Now, the fights. How do we resolve the fights? Now it's dealing with the family and the in-laws. So everything has a next level to it. Oh, I just want to get pregnant, and then you get pregnant. Oh, well, I just want to have the baby, and then you have the baby, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do with this brand new human being that has an inability to tell me what's going on with it? Every finish line is the starting line for the next race. And you've got about this much time to do your happy touchdown dance and then get ready for what the next stage is going to bring. And there is always going to be a next stage. You find your dream job, great, wonderful, you're hired. And now you have to figure out how to do it. How to keep the dream job. How to keep the fairy tale relationship. How to, raise a child as opposed to have a child. So it is always about what the next step is. It's always about what the next, what the next mountain to climb is. And the cool part is when we can keep in mind that it's not what we have to do, it's what we get to do. And that can make a huge difference in how we work with it, how we do the day-to-day piece, because it is a day-to-day piece that we deal with, that we figure out. And some days are easier to figure out than others. I mean, that's just how it works. But even the days that are hard to figure out are still teaching us something. It's still moving us forward. Nobody gets to flip to the last chapter and see what happens. We need to just take one step at a time to move through the process and not be in such a rush to get to the end of it. It's like when I was pregnant, for a while it was just like, I want to have the baby, I want to have the baby, I want to have the baby. I did it more with my first child. With my second, I realized I need to cherish this part. And when we can remember we need to cherish this part, that allows us to go into a much gentler place with the whole process. And, fortunately, my oldest son was there, and so I was pregnant with what was going to be his brother. And so by making my son a part of the process, it allowed me to appreciate it more. It allowed me to appreciate those times when I was just laying quietly and I felt that movement. And, when I became a chiropractor, everything was about, my whole school experience was about take the next exam, take the next test. And looking back, I wish that I had maybe joined a club, maybe participated in something, to give me a break from just the intensity of it, because I was in such a rush to get through it, I didn't enjoy the process anywhere near as much as I should have. And yeah, I was old enough to be the mother of pretty much all of my classmates. And they were these young folks who, they, come in on Monday morning looking bleary-eyed with their hands covered in 18 different stamps from all the clubs that they went to, talking stories about, how they were partying and how they enjoyed themselves. And it was like, so how was your weekend? It's like, well, I did laundry. That was exciting. And so I did feel kind of separate from them, but at the same time, that was still something that I could have cherished a bit more. So what I'm saying is that while you're making things happen, cherish where you're at. While you're waiting for your ship to come in, enjoy sitting on the beach and watching a beautiful sunset or sunrise. Be in the moment. Enjoy the moment. Because once that moment passes and you've reached your goal and you look back and it was nothing but a grind to make it through, it is a little bit sad. Especially when, you think about how much fun you could have had. And it doesn't, it doesn't mean that you don't take the goal seriously. It just means that you bring joy into the process. And maybe it's just cleaning up your room. Oh God, I need to clean up the room. Well, you put on some music and while you're cleaning, dance. Have yourself your own little boogie session while cleaning the room. It will make things easier. It will make things lighter. So make sure that you're doing that. Make sure that you are creating a celebration through the process. Because yes, there are parts of the process that are going to suck, that are going to be hard. I'm in a part of that right now, where there's a part of the process that is just frustrating the bejesus out of me. And at the same time, I can't forget, I'm in freaking New York. I'm starting a new life. And yeah, it's a clumsy start, but I am starting it. So make sure that you treat your life the same way. Make sure that you cherish the process, cherish the journey, because honestly, that's where you get your greatest gifts. So on that note, we are going to call that a day, and in 30 minutes I will be over on Kick, and we will still be talking about Make It Happen Monday. Well, we may be talking about some of the same things that we talked about here, and we may talk about some new stuff depending on what other people decide they want to talk about. So it is, it's easy to sign up. If you aren't on Kick, you can go over there, and it's just as easy to set up an account over there as it was on Twitch. And I'll see you over there. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel for Tuesday. Your life follows your thoughts, or your life follows your choices. So where are your choices taking you? And if you need to reach me, you can do so through Discord, you can do so through Twitter, you can do so through Twitch Whispers. And, I do my best to check in, but in most cases I'll be checking in probably like, about an hour before I start streaming. But I do check in to see if there are messages, so I do my best to be able to respond to those as promptly as I can. But just keep in mind, I'm old, I fall asleep fairly early, so everybody have an amazing rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Please remember that you get to make happen what you want to make happen. Nobody gets to choose that for you, or nobody should choose that for you, because this is about your path. Please remember that you get to either decide that journey is going to be miserable or that journey is going to be interesting. But either way, cherish that part, because you don't want to look back and see all the things that you missed out and all the ways you could have enjoyed that part of it. Maybe it takes a little bit longer, but there's something to be said for enjoying the journey. And please remember that you are the only you in all the universe. You're the only you that's ever been and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, it makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So, and also I want to give a big thank you for all those who are supporting me through subs and through bits. I really appreciate that. We're up to 1391 followers, so we're just 9 short of 1400 followers, and that's very exciting to me. And, you know, we just keep growing, but thank you for everybody. Much love to everybody hanging out in the Loving Lurkers Lounge. Thank you for everybody in the chat, and for those of you who are supporting the stream and supporting me, thank you especially, because you're helping me move towards that dream of being able to be a full-time streamer. So, until next time, and as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. So have a good day, learn something new, I'm proud of you, and I love you. Alrighty folks, the love train is pulling out of the station. We are pulling into the kick station, but we will be back tomorrow here at this station. So everybody take care. Bye. Woo woo.